G'day and welcome to CJ Today Reads. Today I'm going to be talking about an iconic Australian song called Waltzing Matilda. It's kind of like an unofficial anthem. It's really well known. I think you'd be hard pressed to find an Aussie who doesn't know what Waltzing Matilda is. But I thought I'd give you a little bit of background about what it is and then read the lyrics. You can Google the song if you want to listen to it. Trust me, you do not want me to sing it. So I'll just be reading the lyrics when we get to that. So, and away we go. So, Waltzing Matilda is a song developed in the Australian style of poetry and folk music called a bush ballad. So, basically, anywhere that was not populated in Australia is referred to as the bush. It's basically because it's either woodland or scrubby areas and not many people. So, it's typically referred to as the bush. I don't know what you'd call it in other countries, but that's what it is here. So, as I said, it's been described as Australia's unofficial national anthem. There's been pushes to make it the national anthem, but because it's not really referencing a lot of Australian culture, it's a very specific aspect of Australian culture from a long time ago. It's probably not the best depiction of what Aussie life is, but it's just well loved. For example, the Australian women's soccer team are referred to as the Matildas. So that's an example of how it's very much part of our culture. So the title Waltzing Matilda is actually a slang term, so Australian slang. So traveling on foot, which is what was pretty much the only way of getting around when this was written. There wasn't railways, certainly not in bush and agricultural areas. You pretty much did it on foot or on horseback. And so if you were traveling by foot, that was known as waltzing. So it's Waltzing. I said Z for the Americans listening. Z, Waltzing. So that's waltzing. You would think it was this character perhaps in the story wants to dance with someone called Matilda, but that's actually not what it's about. So waltzing referred to traveling on foot, and the Matilda in the story is the swag. So a swag is a portable tent. No, it's hard to describe. It's like a bedroll that you carry around in a backpack. So it was quite iconic in when this was written, which was the late 1800s, that itinerant workers would travel around by foot from different job to job, and they would carry a swag. So the bedroll and something that is a tent or on their back with a backpack. So the story tells the poem is about the story of a person traveling on foot with the bedroll or the backpack combination thingy called a swag. We still have them today. That you can buy swags. They're just a one-person elevated. It's like a bed with a canopy, but a tent. It's a combination. Trust me, Google it. It's not something you may be familiar with, but it's very unique to here. It's often given to. There's a charity that runs a swag donation for homeless people here so that they've got shelter. And yeah, so that's what a swag is. So that's what Waltzing Matilda is. It's someone walking with a backpack that's got their bedding on it. So the song is about an itinerant worker who is a swagman. So the person that carried a swag was then a swagman. It's not a big leap, is it? And he's boiling a billy, and a billy is basically a tin with a handle that you put water in and you put over a campfire to boil water. So it's called a billy. At a bush camp and capturing a stray jumbuck. So a jumbuck is a sheep, and he catches it to eat it. And then when the owner of the jumbuck discovers him, and the owner is a squatter or a grazier, so the farmer basically, and 3 troopers, which are mounted police, they pursue the swagman for theft, and he declares in the story, "You'll never catch me alive." And then he unalives himself by drowning himself in a nearby billabong. Billabong is an Indigenous word, and it basically is a watering hole, but it's a unique shape. It is typically the bow of a river that's been left behind when erosion creates a new channel, and you end up with this bow-shaped water pond thingy that's left, and there's no access, like it doesn't have access to refreshed water, so it's called a billabong. And so that's the original meaning, but it kind of means any sort of pool of water that you can drink from. So he drowns himself in a nearby watering hole, and then his ghost is sent to haunt the site. So that's what the story is going to be about. And the reason I've explained it is because it uses a lot of Aussie slang and a lot of Aussie terms that if you're not Australian, you may not be aware of. And even if you are, you still may not have realised what the aspects of the song were actually about, or what some of the words were. Although, I'd be very surprised if you didn't. So the lyrics were originally composed by an Australian poet, and his name was Banjo Patterson. And the tune was adapted from a song, or a marching song, known as Craigie Lee. And it was I think, Scottish or Irish one. That's the origin. But I'm not going to talk so much about the music. I'm just going to talk about the actual poetry. So it was Banjo Patterson, and in 1895. Now, you'd be forgiven for thinking that Banjo Patterson was called Banjo because of he liked the fact that he played perhaps the banjo, but that's not true. So his name was Andrew Barton Patterson. He was a solicitor, lived in Sydney. He wrote lots of poetry. He's well loved. Another famous one of his is The Man from Snowy River, Clancy of the Overflow, The Ironbark Chip. Love Banjo Patterson. So there's lots of really, really good Australiana type imagery that he's able to create with his poetry. But he's named Banjo because that was the name of his favourite horse on his father's farm. So that's kind of the moniker he adopted, was Banjo. So that kind of explains the background of it. He is, as I said, a much loved Australian poet. So I'm going to read you the story, and you can, I don't know, make some comments on what you think about what it is. I'm just busy scrolling down on my reference here to find the actual the lyrics. Here we go. So with the lyrics, there is some variations that you might hear or you might read, because there's kind of it passed through a lot of hands from when he wrote it, and then sold the rights to it, and then they sold the rights, and then they sold the rights, and so on. And over the last 130 years, it's varied a little bit as to what is thought to be the original one. So it's not really an official song lyrics. So you might hear it in a little bit of variation. But the one I'm going to read is the one that was published by Cohen in 1903. So Cohen was the person that Banjo sold the lyrics to, or sold the poetry to, words to. So this is the unsung version of Waltzing Matilda. So once a jolly swagman camped by a billabong under the shade of a coolabah tree, and he sang as he watched and waited till his billy boiled, "You'll come a waltzing, Matilda, with me." Chorus is waltzing Matilda, you'll come a waltzing, Matilda, with me. And he sang as he watched and waited till his billy boiled, "You'll come a waltzing, Matilda, with me." So down came a jumbuck to drink at that billabong, and up jumped the swagman and grabbed him with glee. And he sang as he shoved that jumbuck in his tucker bag, "You'll come a waltzing, Matilda, with me." Then the chorus repeats again, waltzing Matilda, you'll come a waltzing, Matilda, with me. And he sang as he watched, and he waited till his billy boiled, "You'll come a waltzing, Matilda, with me." Up rode the squatter, mounted on his thoroughbred. Down came the troopers, 1, 2, and 3. "Whose is that jumbuck you've got in your tucker bag? You'll come a waltzing, Matilda, with me." Chorus again. And then the next verse, up jumped the swagman and sprang into the billabong. "You'll never catch me alive," said he, and his ghost may be heard as he passed by that billabong, saying, "You'll come a waltzing, Matilda, with me." There were some extra words in there that you may not know because they're Australian words. That's the whole poem, just by the way. The coolabah tree. This is another Indigenous word. just means a type of tree. Again, if you're really interested in what a coolabah tree is, it's spelt Coolibah. So coolabah tree. So just a type of tree, very recognizable as Australian. And let me just see if there was something else in there. There was something that came back. And yeah, his tucker bag. So interestingly, a tucker bag. So tucker, Tucker. So if you're an American listening, that would be tucker. So we don't pronounce R's at the end of words here. So that would be tucker. And it basically is food. And that is, again, a slang term that's persisted through the Australian culture. And even today, you will have, particularly in Victoria, I know that this is true, that kids will go to their tuck shop at school to buy their lunch. So we don't have provided lunches in the same way as they do at schools, elementary school in the US, and or school dinners like they do in the UK. I'm not quite sure what Europe does in this space. But we have the ability to provide lunch. Normally, children take a packed lunch to school, or they take money to buy at the school shop that sells food. And you can pre-order it, so you put your lunch order in at the beginning of the day, and then you go and collect it at lunchtime. And you can also do it for the mid-morning break, which is referred to as recess here. So when I was in primary school, which is elementary school, it was called little lunch and big lunch because it was the 70s, and that's just what we did. So that's what tucker is. It relates to food, and we have the tuck shop that you go and buy your food from at lunchtime. And so tucker is, it's still used today. You will hear it, people talking about it. I'm just got to go and get some tucker, which means I'm just going to go and get some food for, and it's usually for lunch, but it can be for just a general reference for food. So that's what tucker is. So a tucker bag is a bag that you carry your food in. So when he sang as he shoved that jumbuck in his tucker bag, it's alluding to the fact that he's captured this sheep and he wants to eat it. So he presumably does whatever you need to do to make a sheep edible, and without having to spit out all that wool, and then stores it so that he's got the ability to eat it later. So that's his tucker bag. So what else was in there? I think there was another reference to, I think that was the only word, maybe. Anyway, if there was a word in there other than coolabah and tucker that I hadn't explained beforehand, then yeah, you can drop a comment and say, what is this? And I'll tell you. Interestingly, if you go to the Wikipedia page, you can, which is where I'm getting all of this from, you can see a photo of what a swagman looked like with backpack and his bedroll, carrying his billy. You can see what a billabong looks like, or what a campsite next to a billabong might look like. There's paintings. Gordon Kultz, I can't pronounce his surname, did a painting in 1889 depicting a swagman at a billabong with his billy making a campfire. So there's lots of different things that you can find. So and it turns out there's actually explanations on the website too to tell you what a billabong is. So I said it was that oxbow lake. The coolabah tree is a type of eucalyptus tree. So yay, for me, I was right. What a billy is, what a tucker bag is, what troopers are, and what a squatter is, which is it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek way of saying that this person lives on the land they're not entitled to. And that's a nod to, and maybe an accurate nod, well, it is an accurate nod, to the way settlers arrived in most countries where they, inverted commas, invaded the country, where they settled in new countries. So that's the same in the US and Australia, which was European settlement. So so that's oh geez, I've lost my words, which is unusual. That's Waltzing Matilda. Some of the variations are that instead of saying who'll come a waltzing Matilda with me, is who'll come a waltzing Matilda my darling, which is very Irish. So my darling is an Irish phrase, so that's a variation, and you can read the sort of variations also on the Wikipedia page. What would we do without Wikipedia? Anywho, that's the poem Waltzing Matilda. I hope you enjoyed my reading of it. Today's reading was a little bit more serious because I didn't want to poke fun at something that's so iconic and part of the Australian identity as Waltzing Matilda and a much loved poet, Banjo Paterson. And so that's why I just decided to do a serious one. I had alluded to doing that in previous, I haven't had that many CJ reads yet, but in previous episodes, I have alluded to the fact that I will do a serious one, and this is one of it. My plan for the next one is to actually do the origin story for the area that I live in and I grew up in. So I live in a region called the Illawarra region, and that's the Indigenous term for it. And there's a really strong oral history of Indigenous culture, and I want to tell the Indigenous story for this area about how it formed. There's 5 islands off the coast, so how the 5 islands came to be. So that's going to be the topic for my next serious one. I've also been accepting some requests. Some of them have some copyright issues that I might have to deal with, so I've got to check that out. But interestingly, someone from Missouri has asked me to read a menu. I'm pretty sure he's trolling me, but I'm going to read it anyway because I have a feeling I'm not going to understand most of the references to foods, so including something known as chicken fried steak. I think I've worked out what that is, but that's not something that we call that here. I think it's what we would call schnitzel or schnitty, because of course we shorten everything. So yes, I'm going to read that. I also have some badly translated instructions from, I think it was from Japanese to English, and it's hilarious, or it's hilarious to me. So I'm going to read that. So just some nonsense stuff. So I'll probably end up doing what this channel is going to end up being is a serious one and a silly one, hopefully twice a week. I wasn't quite sure whether people would actually be interested in listening to me talk because, again, I don't have an accent, but people are, and I'm getting lots of prompting to do more. So I'm going to keep doing more until you say I've had enough. The other thing I've done too is because just to help me out a little bit, and you don't have to do this, is I've just added a buy me a coffee to the bottom of this, so you can scroll through there if you want to show your support. That would be lovely, but it's not necessary. I'll keep doing it anyway. So yeah, that's it for today. So once a jolly swagman, camped by a billabong. Have a listen to Waltzing Matilda. So the 6th of April is also Waltzing Matilda Day. So I didn't know that. I discovered that when I read this, because I've certainly never celebrated that, but it is an annual day since 2012. So it hasn't had enough time to kind of enter into mainstream, I think. And if you're an Aussie listening to this and you do celebrate Waltzing Matilda Day, let me know in the comments below. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Never knew that it could feel this way when you lie next to someone. You don't even need to play pretend, 'cause you find the way you are. I wanna know you better, give me every detail. I won't judge you, as you know. Could stay forever when you're lying in my arms. My heart is open, it just took some time. Now I just hope that you stay for a little while. You fix what's broken when you make that smile. So just stay for a little while. So just stay for a little while. I didn't think that I would find that someone who's as honest as you are. The way you make me feel at night when it's cold outside, but you make it alright. I wanna know you better. Give me every detail. I won't judge you, as you know. I could stay forever when I'm lying in your arms. Oh, my heart is open. It just took some time. Now I just hope that you stay for a little while. You'll fix what's broken when you make that smile. So just stay for a little while. So long when you go, and I can't get enough of you. So can't you stay a little while? I don't want you to leave, so please stay with me. Stay for a little while. Stay for a little while. Hey, yeah. My heart is open. It just took some time. Now I just hope that you stay for a little while. You fix what's broken when you make that smile. So just stay for